What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to update our devwp WordPress training theme from Bootstrap 3 to Bootstrap 4. There's also some new features to the underscore starter theme that I wanted to highlight. Underscores now has support for WooCommerce built right into the starter theme. It's a basic implementation, but it will speed up our workflow. This is great because in an upcoming video, I want to show you how to create an e-commerce website with the devwp training theme and the WooCommerce plugin. If you're brand new to this channel, take a look around and you will see that I have a bunch of videos all dedicated to creating, coding, and managing WordPress powered websites. I also have playlists dedicated to WordPress multi-site, WordPress security, WordPress theme development, WordPress performance and optimization, and some of the best WordPress plugins that you should consider using on your website and how to set them up. And I also have a bunch of beginner videos for those who are brand new to WordPress. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification icon so that way when I release a new video, you'll be notified. Alright, so let's get started. First thing you will need to do is head over to underscores.me and fill out the information in the form with your theme information. So you'll do that by clicking this advanced options link right here. You put in the theme name, I'm calling it devwp, put in the slug, put in the author URI, and the description of the theme itself. Also make sure you check off the WooCommerce boilerplate option right here and the Sassify. Once you fill all this out, just double check it, and then you can hit the generate button right here. It'll download a zip file for you right on your computer. Now we're going to head over to getbootstrap.com. We're going to hit the download button over here, and we'll hit this download button right here. And now we have that saved over here as well. We're going to be integrating the best of Bootstrap with underscores to create our devwp training theme. Now let's head over to fontawesome.io. Click this download button right here. And now you have FontAwesome downloaded. And then let's go to tether.io. This is required by Bootstrap, so we should download this now. Click this link right here, and you'll get that zip file as well. Now let's get the theme unit test data. This is good to have because you want to make sure that your theme is going to be able to handle all the types of potential input or content that a person will create using your theme. So just scroll down over here, download a copy from, and then right click this link to open a new tab. This is the XML file that we're going to be downloading. Right click, save as, and make sure you're saving it to your downloads folder. Now we have that. Now if you want to get all the files and folders already completed, head on over to pixelweb.com/devwp/getdevwp, and this is the URL right here. For just $10, you will get all the completed code so you can easily follow along. There's already been a bunch of you who purchased the devwp training theme, and I want to say thank you for supporting the channel. I'm also writing a WordPress theme development guide, and once that's done, I will send it to everyone who's purchased devwp. But don't worry, you don't need to buy devwp to benefit from these videos that I'm creating. Throughout this process, I will show you all the code so you can easily code along with me. This is just a way for you to support the channel and to get the code in advance. And whenever I make updates to the code, I'll send you a brand new zip file. Alright, so now what we should do is head on over to our local web server. I'm using MAMP for this video demonstration, but you can also use WAMP or XAMPP. Those are also very good options. Just make sure you already have WordPress installed. If you don't have it installed already, just go to wordpress.org/download, download it, and you'll get a zip file that you will need to extract and place the extracted folder in your htdocs folder. And also make sure you have the database created and WordPress activated. So once you have your local server running, I'm going to go right here. This is where this particular WordPress installation is. As you can see, I named it devwp. So I'm going to go over here to the themes section. Obviously, make sure you're already logged in. If you're already in the backend, it's over at Appearance and then Themes. Click on Add New. Click Upload Theme. Then choose File. And as you can see, we have the devwp zip file right here. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to open it and install now. We could activate it. Let's look at the front of the site. As you can see, we have no content here. So what I did was I already deleted any of the default posts and pages that come with WordPress whenever you install it. I'm also using a couple of plugins that make it easier in order to develop. One of them is the log deprecated notices. This is the monster widget that gives you a bunch of testing widgets to work with. The show current template is very good because in the top admin toolbar, you'll see what template file is being called. And I'll show you that in action in a minute. Also using the theme check plugin. It just makes sure you're using the latest WordPress standards and practices. And this one is just to optimize the database. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install that theme unit test data that we downloaded. So I'll go to Tools and Import. I'm going to install WordPress importer plugin right over here. Then I'll run the importer, choose the file, and I'm going to choose the theme unit test data.wordpress.xml right there. Open, upload file, and import. I'm just going to change all the users to my demo user right here. And I'm going to download and import the file attachments. Then hit submit. Once it's done processing, you'll get this notification that it's all done. And now we can go to the post section, check out all posts, and you see we have a bunch of different posts here. Same thing for the pages. And what we could do now is go over to the front end of the website and see how it looks now. As you can see, there's really no styling to this. The underscore starter theme is really just a starter theme. And this is why we're going to be using Bootstrap 4. We're going to be combining some of the best of Bootstrap with underscores so we can create our own custom theme. Now we're going to have it look something similar to this, where we're going to have our layout governed by Bootstrap. We're going to have our navigation bar over here. We're going to have a nice hover effect. This is not native to Bootstrap, but I'm going to show you how to make this work. And then you're going to see we're going to have this scroll to top section over here. I'll give you the code for that. And the final product is going to be fully responsive. So it doesn't matter what device or what viewport a person is coming to your website from. It's going to be fully responsive. And that's important. Go back over here. And what I want to do now is I want you to open up your text editor or IDE. I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code for this demonstration. And we're going to open up our devwp starter theme. As you can see, I'm navigating to where my theme is located. devwp right there. Select it. And this is what you should see. You should have the include folder, the JavaScript folder, languages, layout, your Sass folder, your template parts, and then these are the various files that come by default with the underscore starter theme. Alright, so let's create a couple of folders that we're going to need. I'm going to click this new folder icon over here, and I'm going to make a dist folder for distribution. So now you see we have it right there. And now I'm going to create another folder and call it src for source. So now we have a source folder right there. Inside the dist folder, make sure you click on it to make it targeted. I'm going to click a new folder as well. I'm going to create a CSS folder and then a JavaScript folder. So now it should look like this. You should have your distribution folder right there, your CSS folder, and your JavaScript folder. And now what I want to do, I'm going to grab this customizer.js file and I'm going to drag it into the distribution JavaScript folder. And then I'm going to grab this JavaScript folder right here and drag it into the source folder. Alright, so now let's go back to our file explorer and then start extracting the Bootstrap and Font Awesome and the tether assets that we need. So I'm going to go over here. To make it easier, I opened up two file explorers. This side has my downloads folder, and this side, as you can see, I navigated to my htdocs folder, to this devwp WordPress installation, to the wp-content folder, to themes, and now I'm here, and I'll double click in devwp, and you can see the folder structure here as well. So now let's extract Bootstrap, extract all, let's extract Font Awesome, and let's extract tether. Now you see we have those extracted. What I also want to do is on this side here, I'm going to create a new folder and just call it fonts. We're going to go into the Font Awesome 4.7 folder, navigate our way over here, and I'm going to grab these two folders right here. I'm going to copy them, place them in my fonts folder, paste. Now we have those installed properly. We can get rid of the fontawesome.css file because we're only going to be using the min file. If you want to leave it, you can, but I'm just going to delete it. Just go back to our downloads over here. Go back over here. Let's go into the tether folder. Navigate our way to the distribution folder, the JS folder, and let's grab the tether.min.js. Copy that, and let's go to the source folder, JavaScript folder right here, and just paste it right there. Let's go back to downloads. Let's go to Bootstrap 4.0, your source and JS folder. We'll go into the JavaScript folder here. We'll grab the bootstrap.min.js, copy that, and paste it right there. Go back to the root. We're going to go to our distribution folder and go into our CSS folder here. As you can see, it's empty. So what we're going to do now, go back here, go into the CSS folder. We're just going to grab the bootstrap.min.css file, copy it, and paste it over here. So now if we look at our folder structure, we should have our distribution folder here with our CSS folder and our JavaScript folder. We have our fonts folder with the assets that we need. And a matter of fact, what I'll do here is I'll create another folder and I'm going to call it Font Awesome. And then I'm just going to drag this font folder inside there and the CSS folder inside there. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because at a later point, we might utilize some other fonts, or maybe we'll utilize some SVG files. And that way we can separate them into their separate folders. Alright, so that looks good. In our source folder, we have our JavaScript folder right there, and we have our files there that we need. Alright, so in a previous video, I was using Gulp as my task runner. And I definitely recommend using Gulp because it'll simplify your workflow. It'll make you a significantly more productive coder. But what I want to do now is just simplify this a little bit, so I'm not going to use Gulp in this video. I have some other videos on how to use Gulp, how to install it, how to set it up, and the code that I use in order to get it to work with my project that I'm working on now. Again, I'm not using Gulp for this video. Alright, so now let's go back to our code editor. We're going to have to make some changes over here. Let's go first to our functions.php file. Now, the functions.php file is one of the most important files that you can have on your WordPress website, because this will be where you place most of your functions that you want to have working on your site. So just an overview of this file. We'll open up our PHP tag over here. We have an if conditional, and it's checking if this function does not exist at devwp_setup. Then we're going to start setting it up. We're going to load the theme text domain. This is important to make your theme available for translation. We're going to add default posts and comments RSS feed, links to the head by adding the theme support and the automatic feed links. And the title tag, we're going to let WordPress manage the title tag itself. We're adding theme support for the post thumbnails. And over here for this menu, we're going to change this over here. Call it primary. Save that. The reason is because later on in maybe some other videos, I'll create some new navigation menus that you can place in your footer section or a social media menu or something like that. We're adding theme support for HTML5. This is important. And if we scroll down, this is for the custom background feature. And add theme support for selective refresh for widgets as well. A lot of this stuff is already here, and we're just going to make some minor changes. This is for your custom logo. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to add support for the editor style sheet. So we'll type out function devwp _add editor style. So we're creating our own function over here. Then we're going to put add editor style. And then we're going to put that style sheet over here within our distribution folder and CSS folder right there. So we'll just say dist CSS editor dash style dot CSS. Go out here, put in our semicolon, and then outside this closing bracket, it's important to make sure that you have the correct syntax. Go to a new line and then put in add action admin init, comma, and then we're going to take this function right there and put it right there. So now we got to create this file. So I'm just going to copy that, go over here to this folder, click on the new file, paste it, and hit enter. Save it. At a later date, I'll create a video on how to make sure that your editor style sheet matches your front-end style sheet. This will be helpful because when you're creating a new post or page, you're going to want to see how the styling looks within the editor itself. So that's why we did that. Oh, actually over here I made a mistake. Got to put an underscore. Save that. Alright, so let's go down a little bit more. We're going to go to this section over here, and I'm going to put 1140. So what this is, anytime you grab like a YouTube video or you put something inside of your content, you want to make sure that it doesn't exceed a certain pixel width. So I'm setting here to 1140. Alright, so let's go down a little bit more. Now what I want to do is I want to grab this register sidebar. I'm going to grab this over here, and I'm going to create a new file over here in the includes folder. Make sure I'm in that folder. Create a new file. I'm going to call it widgets.php. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because what I want to do is later on is create more widgetized areas. So I'm going to manage it inside of my widgets.php file. So I'm going to grab all this here. I'm going to copy it, or you could just Control X. Go over here. Open up our PHP tags and paste it in. I'll just save the functions.php file. And over here, what I'll do is I'll type out right sidebar, and I'll give the ID of right sidebar. And this is what we have. We have our function devwp underscore widgets in it. We're registering a sidebar, and we have an array opened up right here. So we have our first line over here is name. We're escaping HTML, calling it right sidebar, and this is our text domain. So you're going to see this a lot. This is to make sure that your files are translatable. We have our ID. We have the description that's going to be added to that section, add widgets here. Then we have the before widget, after widget, the title, and then after title. So make sure you save that file. We'll go back to functions.php. And now we're going to start working on this area over here. This is to include our scripts and styles. This is for our style sheet and the other style sheets and scripts that we're going to be adding to this developer theme. So the first thing I want to do is go over here, go to a new line, and just to make it fast, I'm going to copy this right here, paste it right there, parentheses, single quotation marks, type out devwp dash BS for bootstrap dash CSS. Go outside that single quotation mark, put in a comma, and now we're going to use the get template directory URI. So I'm going to grab this right here, paste it right there, put in some parentheses, space, period, and then single quotation marks, and then a /, dist, /CSS, / bootstrap.min.css. Go outside that final parenthesis mark right there, put in our semicolon, and then save. So what this is doing, we're enqueuing the style sheet, we're giving it the handle of devwp-bs for bootstrap-css, we're using the get template directory URI function, and we're going to our distribution folder, into our CSS folder, and we're grabbing the bootstrap.min.css. And we're going to do the same thing now for Font Awesome. So I'm just going to grab that, paste it down there. And we're going to have to change this stuff because you want to have a different handle. So we'll call this one Font Awesome. And now what we want to do is we want to go into our fonts folder. So we're going to change this here to fonts. We're going to go into our Font Awesome folder, into the CSS folder, and then we're going to grab the fontawesome.min.css. So you can see that right here. We're going into the fonts folder, into the Font Awesome folder, into the CSS folder, and we're grabbing this file right here, the fontawesome.min.css. Save it. And now we're going to have to add some other tools that Bootstrap's going to need. So let's go back to our URL. And this is what we need. We need the popper.js. So go to this URL right here so you can see what this is. You don't need to download it because we're going to be calling it in from a CDN. I just wanted to show you what it is. So we'll go back over here to our code editor. Underneath the WP and Q style, we'll go over here and we're going to start putting in our JavaScript files. So we're going to have to register a new script. In order to do that, we'll type out WP register _ script parentheses, and then we're going to call this one popper. Outside of there, we'll put a comma and a space, single quotation marks, and I'm going to paste in that URL. Outside of the single quotation mark right there, put in the comma, then type out false, comma, put in empty string right there. Outside of that, comma, and then type out true. So this is going to make this file come in from a CDN, and it's going to make sure that it goes to the footer section of your website. That way it won't cause any performance issues. So now go to a new line, and now we're going to enqueue that script. So WP _ enqueue _ script parentheses, and then popper. Alright, so now we have this registered and enqueued. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out this enqueue script over here, because we're not going to be using the underscores navigation option. We'll delete that, and I'm going to paste in some code here, and I'll walk you through it very quickly. Let me reformat this. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're doing pretty much the same thing we did with the other options over here. We're WP enqueue script. This is the handle. We're using the get template directory URI, and then we're going to our source folder over here, and we're getting the bootstrap.min.js, and jQuery is required for that, so we're putting in jQuery over here in this array. And then again, we're putting it to true because that way it'll end up at the bottom of our website, so it won't cause any performance issues. And we're doing the same thing over here, WP enqueue script, devwp bootstrap hover, get template directory URI, and we're going to create the file over here for that, and we're also going to do the scroll to top file as well. So you see the path that we're using, source, JS, and then these are the files. So over here, let's click in that JS folder inside the source folder, click on new file, and let's create those files now. bootstrap-hover.js. So now we have that done. Let's create another file there, and we'll call this one nav-scroll.js. Alright, so let's go through this real quick. Want to make sure we have everything correct. We're enqueuing our scripts, we're giving them the handles, we're getting them from the correct folder, bootstrap-hover.js, bootstrap-min.js, nav-scroll.js. We have our skip link focus over here. This is for accessibility. And then this one over here is for tether. So we're going into the source, JS, and getting tether.min.js. And this is for the comment section. This is already there by default, so just leave it the way it is. We're using if conditionals to see if it's a singular page and comments are open. And get option thread comments, WP enqueue script, comments reply. So that's already there by default, so don't worry about that. That's built into WordPress. So now this should all look good. Then outside there, we have the add action, WP and Q scripts, and then devwp underscore scripts, which is the name of our function right up here. Now for the navigation.js, this is what comes with underscores by default. We could actually delete this file because we're not going to be using it. So now that's gone. So we should only have 5 files here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we're good to go there. And now remember we had our widgets.php file there? Well, we have to include that now. So this section over here, this is where you're going to be including or requiring certain files to be utilized. That's the power of the functions.php file. Instead of having all the code over here, we can separate them and make it modular by putting the code in other files and then including them. So this is basic PHP, but it's being handled in the WordPress fashion. So we're going to have to make sure we include that. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to copy this one and paste and just make sure to title it properly. And then I'm going to be getting the widgets PHP file. And then this is built in for Jetpack compatibility. And this is built in for the WooCommerce compatibility. All right, so we have the functions.php file pretty much done. But there's something else we have to include, and that's to make the Bootstrap navigation work properly with WordPress, because by default, the way Bootstrap handles navigation and menu bars is different than how WordPress does it. So we're going to go to our browser over here. We're going to go to this URL. This is for a nav walker. So make sure you click on the PHP file right here. Click raw, Command A or Control A, and then copy it with Control C or Command C. Let's go back over here. And inside the includes folder, we're going to create a new file. And we're going to call it bootstrap-wp-nav-walker.php. Hit enter. It opens that file up. And we're going to paste in that nav walker code. So this is a lot of code, and in a separate video, I'll go over what this is doing. But what this does, it makes the Bootstrap navigation work with the way WordPress handles navigation. So we'll go back to our functions.php file. Scroll back down to the bottom. We're going to copy that. Title it Bootstrap nav walker. And we're going to want to call that in. bootstrap-wp-navwalker.php and save it. Alright, so let's see what happens when we go back to our browser, because we haven't been there in a minute, to our actual theme. Let's refresh, and now we see it changes up a little bit, but we still have to integrate the actual code. So now we're going to go back to our code editor over here. We can close out of this one. Let's go into the navscroll.js file, and I'm going to give you the code for this. Alright, so for this, we're going to type out jQuery, parentheses, document. Outside of there, put in a period, ready, then parentheses again, then function, space, parentheses. Inside there, we'll put in the $sign. In between those two parentheses, make a space and your curly brackets or curly braces. Put in a little comment over here. Dynamic scroll to top link. We're going to create our variable link. We're going to assign it the value of open up the single quotation marks and put in an anchor tag href, and then we'll put in the $sign top. Close off the double quotation marks. Make sure you have matching pairs of your quotation marks so that way you don't run into any issues. Give it a space, class equals top, and then we're closing off that part right there with the greater than symbol. UARR semicolon, and then closing off the anchor tag. And we're putting in our semicolon right there. Make sure your syntax looks correct. This is going to give us our navigation scroll to top functionality. This is the jQuery for it. Then we're going to use the $, parentheses, body. Outside of there, we'll put in a period. We're going to append the link variable. And then we're going to put in another $, parentheses, dot hide. Do another one right there. You're going to want to make sure these always match. So what I like about these code editors is that they show you whether or not you have your opening and closing brackets and parentheses all done properly. So we're going to say if space parentheses $, parentheses again, this outside of there, put in scroll top is greater than 100. So this is the viewport. So when a person's visiting your website, when they scroll down, at a certain point you'll see the scroll to top. And I can show you over here again. So let me go back here. I'll show you what that looks like. I'll keep this window open just so you can see some of the functionality. That's what it's going to end up looking like. And with the hover effect that I'll show you for the navigation, that's what it'll look like there as well. So over here, outside that parentheses, we'll open up some more curly braces, give ourselves some space, type out $, parentheses, dot top. And we're going to say fade in, like that. Put in our semicolon. Actually, we'll go over here. We'll put in an else. This is an if-else conditional. Open up some more curly braces. $, parentheses, single quotation marks, dot top. We're going to say fade out. Over here, we're going to close this off with our semicolon. Go to a new line. Then type out $, parentheses, single quotation mark, dot top, dot click, function, space, parentheses, E, our curly braces right there. We're going to put E dot prevent default, then new line, $, parentheses, quotation marks, HTML, comma, body. Go outside that parentheses right there, dot, animate, parentheses, curly braces, scroll, top. Make sure you have it camel case like this because it is case sensitive. Put in your colon right there, not a semicolon, a regular colon, space, 0, and then comma, 400. This is for the speed of the animation. Then put in a semicolon right there. Alright, so make sure you put in your semicolon over here and over here as well and save that file. Make sure your syntax is correct because most errors will be because you have your syntax not properly done. So the good thing about these text editors is they have bracket matching, so they let you know if you have everything done properly. Alright, so just save that file. And now let's go over to bootstrap-hover.js. Alright, so for the hover effect, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste in the code and I'm going to walk you through what it does. Let me just format this properly. Alright, so we're using jQuery again. Document.ready function, $. We have a comment over here for the hover drop-down menu. Then we have our $, here, parentheses, function, parentheses. Open up our curly braces. And then we have another section here, $, parentheses, and then dot drop down, hover, function. We're targeting this class, this, dot stop, true, true, fade in and fast. And then this dot toggle class open, toggle class caret, caret up. Make sure everything matches. Pause the video if you need to make sure your code looks just like this, because this is going to give us the hover effect that I showed you over here. Okay, so we have that done. And now what I want to do is I want to open up our customizer.php file because we changed the location of the JavaScript folder. Remember, we put into our distribution folder over here. So over here towards the bottom, we're going to type out dist /. That way we go into the distribution folder, into our JavaScript folder, in order to get that customizer.js file. Otherwise, the customizer will not work properly. So make sure you save that. And now let's take a look at our front page again. And we're going to start filling out the grid. So we're going to go over here now. We can start Xing out of these because we don't need these open. We're going to open up. Let me close this off. Close that. Let's open up our header.php file. Let's focus over here. So what we're doing here is we have our header.php file. And this is where we're going to put all of our header code. Now a lot of this is already pre-done for us because of the underscore starter theme. So that's good. But we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to go down over here. We have our doc type HTML. We have our language attributes being dynamically generated here. We have our head tag. This is the stuff that you don't see in the browser, but it's important to have. So over here on this line, meta, name, viewport, content width, device width, initial scale 1. We're going to just add some more information here. Put a comma after the 1. And then type out shrink -2 -fit equals no. This is just for the viewport, for the device viewport. This is part of responsive design, so it's good to have it like this. We'll scroll down. Now this part is very important. It's already here, so you don't have to put it there. But this is so that plugins and other features of WordPress can properly integrate with your theme. For instance, if you have an SEO plugin that needs to put some information up here, it's going to hook into this function right here. So if you don't have this, then the SEO plugins or any other plugins that need to integrate with this section won't be able to properly do so. So that's why you got to leave that there. We're closing out our head tag right there. Then we open up our body tag. We have our body class function right here. And then in this section right here, where it says div ID equals page, class equals site, inside of there, right after site, we're going to type out container and just save that. Now go back to your browser. You see how it's edge to edge now? Now refresh your browser. And now you see everything centered. So if you view page source over here, you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see we have our JavaScript files being called in, the popper.min.js, tether.min.js, bootstrap.min.js, bootstrap hover, nav scroll, skip link focus, and this one, WP embed, is provided directly by WordPress, and this is for the admin bar. Towards the top, you see we have our bootstrap.min.css, our font awesome, and our style sheet. Then you also see we have jQuery and jQuery migrate. We could actually remove this, and I'll show you how to do that in another time, because this is really not needed. Alright, if we right click and inspect, want to make sure we have no JavaScript issues. You would see a notification over here if you have any issues with your JavaScript. So it's working fine. Let's go back to our header.php file. We're going to go over here to where it says header ID masthead class site header. We're going to go to a new line. We're going to put in a lesser than symbol, nav ID equals menu, class equals, and then we're going to put in navbar space navbar dash expand dash md, then space, and then we're going to put in navbar dash light. And if you want to put in the role of navigation, put that in there. So what we're doing here is we're integrating the Bootstrap navigation bar. So we have our nav, ID equals menu, class, navbar expand md, navbar light. Then over here in the div class site branding, let's put in navbar dash brand. Then we're jumping into PHP, the custom logo, and then we have the if conditional. If is front page and is home. We're going to be outputting an h1 class site title, a href. We're going to open up our PHP, echo escape URL, home URL, relationship home, blog info, name. Then closing off the anchor tag and closing off the h1 tag right there. Now, if we're on a different page, we're going to want to give the site title the paragraph tag. Now, the reason for this is because of SEO markup. You want to make sure that on your home page or your front page that your site title is being given the most prominent SEO value, and H1 will do that. On the single page or single post, you want your post title or your page title to get the H1 class. So that's why we're now giving the site title a paragraph tag. Then you're jumping down to your description section. This is a variable, the description variable. Assigning the value of get_blog info. This is a built-in function for WordPress. We're getting the description and display. And now we have the if conditional over here. Then we're outputting the class site description if this matches. And we're going to echo it. We're echoing the variable. And then we open up the PHP tag again, end if, and then close off that PHP tag. And this div tag is closing off this div tag over here. Class site branding navbar brand. So you want to make sure all of that matches. Alright, so now we're going to change this up over here because this is the navigation that's already built in with underscores, but we want to make this compatible with the bootstrap navigation. So we're going to change out all of this information here. So what I'll do is I'll take this whole entire section and just delete it. And then I'm just going to open up a button tag, give it a class equals navbar dash toggle, navbar dash toggler dash right, and then type equals button data dash toggle collapse, and go to a new line to make this line more readable. Data dash target, put in a pound sign, BS for navbar, area controls, BS for navbar, area dash expanded equals false, area dash label equals toggle navigation. Close that off. Let's go to a new line. We'll open up a span tag, class navbar dash toggler dash icon. Close that off. Then close off the span tag. Then finally close off that button. Alright, so make sure everything looks the same. Button, make sure it matches. Class, navbar toggler, put an R there. Navbar toggler right. Type button. Data toggle, collapse. Data target, BS for navbar. Area controls, BS for navbar. Area expanded false. Area label, toggle navigation. Span class navbar toggler dash icon. Closing that off. Then the button. Now let's open up some PHP tags. And now we're going to be using the WP underscore nav underscore menu parentheses. We're going to create an array over here with our square brackets. Go to a new line. Single quotation marks. Menu. Tab. Equal sign and greater than symbol. Tab. And then primary. Comma. Theme. Location. I'm going to say primary. Container. Div. Container underscore ID. BS for navbar. container underscore class, collapse, then navbar, collapse, menu ID, main dash menu, menu class, navbar dash nav, ml dash auto, depth 2, fallback underscore CB, BS for nav, walker, fallback. And then new BS for nav, walker. And then after the semicolon over here, let's close off our PHP tag and close off our nav tag just to make sure it matches. All right. So you see right now it's saying that I have an error. Once I save it, that disappears. That's also good about this Visual Studio Code. It'll let you know if you have errors within your syntax. All right, so let's go over everything here. Matter of fact, over here in the div ID content class site content, I'm going to put in a row. So Bootstrap works with containers and rows and columns, and that's what we're doing here. We're making sure that everything matches up. We're implementing the Bootstrap navigation. We're calling in the Bootstrap nav walker that we got from GitHub. And let's make sure everything looks good. This is our code top to bottom. If you have to, pause the video and make sure your code looks just like this. Let's go back to our browser. Refresh, make sure everything's still working. And now you see that the navigation has flowed over to the right. Now we still have some formatting issues over here, so we're going to take care of that. But it's starting to come together. We have a ways to go, so definitely stick with it. Just remember that I'm time-stamping this video with the different sections. So if you need to, you can come back to this video at a later time and start over from the section that you left off at. But it's coming together. All right, let's jump back to our code editor. We're done with our header.php file for now. And what I want to do now is go to our footer.php file. So as you can see here, we have our header.php file and our footer.php file. So this has all of our footer code. And what we're going to want to do here is we're going to scroll down over here to the footer tag. And in there, after site-footer, I'm going to put in row. I'm going to save that. Now, just take a look at this div right here. You're going to see that there's no opening div tag for this particular one over here on this file. That's because it's coming from here. This opening div tag is being closed off within the footer.php file. Over here inside the div, right here, div class site info, we're going to give ourselves a space and put col-md-12. And you see that's being closed off right there. I want to change this P to a capital P. Change this up right here, just to be capitalized in camel case. Let's save that up. And we should be good with our footer file for now. Let's go back over here. We'll refresh. Scroll down, and now we have the proudly powered by WordPress theme, and then this is properly uppercased by Pixelweb or by your website. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the actual files that we can format in order to give ourselves the nice display for our grid system. If you look over here, you see the template that we're working with on this display is index.php. And we see this over here because we have that show current template plugin installed. So that's why I like it. It also tells you what other items you're calling in. So let's start working on these files. We're going to go back to our code editor. I'm going to close these off for now. I'm going to go to the index.php file. We'll work here first. Minimize that. And over here, we're going to put in this section right here, call-md-8. Now, if you look over here, we have the get header function. So this is calling in the header.php file. So this is what makes it very modular, and that's a great coding practice. You don't want to have to continuously put in the same code in a bunch of different files. This way, you just put in one line of code, it calls it in, you're good to go. So now we're going into the actual display of our content. So we close off the PHP tag that's opened up over here. This is a comment. And then we open up our div tag. We give it the ID of primary, class, content area, space, call-md-8. So this is giving us a 8 grid section over here on the left side. And then when we scroll to the bottom, we're going to put in the call-md4. And the reason for that is because our sidebar is going to be given the value of 4, because Bootstrap functions on a 12 grid system. So let's scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to change the code up over here, and I'll just walk you through what all this is doing. So we're going to remove this PHP tag here. We're going to put in an opening div tag. Give it a class, call-md-4. Close that off. Open up our PHP tag right there. Then close it off there. And then we're going to close off our div tag. Let's clean this up a little bit. Go over here. And open up the PHP tag right there. And then we're calling in the get footer. So this is calling in the footer.php file. Now you see we don't have a closing PHP tag here. That's fine, and it's recommended as long as it's the last element on your PHP file itself. Alright, so let's go to the top and let's take a look at this file. So we're calling in the header.php file. We're closing off our PHP tag, going into straight up HTML. We have our div ID primary, main, and then we open up our PHP tag here. Now this is the WordPress loop. So we're checking to see if there's any posts, if have posts, and then we're checking to see if is home and is not front page. And then we'll open up our header tags over here. Our H1, class, page title, screen reader text, single post title function, closing that off. Then we're back into PHP. We're ending the if conditional. And then while, this starts the actual loop itself. So this part is checking if you have post, and this starts the loop while you have post, the post. Then we're using the get template part. We're going into our template parts folder over here, and we're grabbing the content.php file. And if there's a post format, we're getting that as well. And then we're ending the while loop. And then we have the post navigation function. And then we have the else over here. Get template parts, content, none. So if there's no content on your website, this is what they'll be delivered. Then we're ending the if statement, the top level one right here. This end if closes off this if conditional right there. And this one closes off this one right there. And then we're closing off our main tag. And then we're closing off our div primary right there. Alright, so now let's look at the content.php file. So this one we don't have to use the get header function because this file is being called into index.php, which already has the get header, and is being placed in to this section right here. So then we have our article tag, ID post, and then the post ID itself, and then the post class. Then we have our header for the actual post itself. If is singular, the title, H1, entry title. Like I said, this is for SEO purposes. Else, we go into the title and give it an H2 class. This is for your SEO markup. You want to make sure that you're giving your page and your posts the most SEO value you can. And your markup matters for that. And this continues for your content. So in another video, I'm going to go more into detail on template tags and the loop itself, because there's a lot of different ways to customize it. And if I do it all in one video, this will be a 5-hour video. So, but just take a look at this code. We have the if conditional, Then we end the if conditional is singular. And then we have this if conditional right here for the post and the post type. Entry meta, posted on. And then we're ending the if right there. Then we're jumping into the content, entry content, the content, using the printf function, then get the title, then the WP link pages. Then we're making sure all of our tags are good. In the video that I'll create about template tags in the loop, I'll show you how to customize everything either in this file or in some secondary or tertiary files. Then the footer for that actual post, and then you're closing off the article tag. And then this is for if there is no content on that actual page. And this is for if there's no results found. Alright, make sure everything's saved. Let's go over here now to our sidebar.php. Remember we changed the name of the sidebar to right. Sidebar. Copy that. Right there. Alright, so we should be good there. Go over here and refresh. And now we see that this is now taken in only part of the actual page right here. So what we'll do is we'll go back here. We'll go to the widgets section. See right sidebar, nothing's there. And we can put in our monster widget there. Go back to the front of the site. And now you see it's placed right there. So we have our content area over here. And we have our sidebar. We're going to take care of this alignment section over here. Just scroll down just to see how everything's formatting out. We still don't have to scroll to the top because we got to put in the CSS for that. We'll inspect elements, make sure we have no errors. We're looking good. Okay. So now let's go tidy up some of our other pages that we got to work with. Alright, so we're going to work on our single.php file. This is for your single post. So if we go over here, and let's say we're going to click on this article right there, we see we don't have the formatting because we haven't put the proper code in the single.php file. So we're going to do that now. It's pretty similar to the index.php file, so we could actually open that file back up. And what I'll do is I'm going to view this in the right. So I'll go here, split editor. Alright, so I have the single.php file here on the left hand side and the index.php file right there on the right hand side. So I'll just grab this right here and I'll paste it right here. Then I'll scroll down and I'll just grab this whole entire section, copy it, scroll down here and do the same thing right there. Just paste it. That should be good. They should be the same. Let me jump back to the browser. You see we're in the single.php file. Let's refresh this page. And now we have it properly formatted. But you see over here, the site title is now smaller because this is given the paragraph tag. If you inspect the element, scroll up, you see it's wrapped in a p tag or paragraph tag. Versus, if we go to the home screen, it's in the H1. That's for proper SEO. Your markup is important, so that's why this is done that way. And we see we have an error. Let's see what that is. And this error right here is for the skip link focus because we changed the location for this. So let's go back here. Let's look in our source file. See, we put it there. All right, so we have to go back to our functions.php file. I'm going to bring this to the right and go down over here. Since we changed the location, it wasn't able to find it, but we could easily fix that. That's good. Go back here and refresh. That's in our source folder, my bad. Save that, because remember we had it in our source folder, not inside of our distribution folder. That's the good thing about Google and Firefox. They have very good developer tools and they'll let you know if you have an error. We'll refresh and that error is now gone because we're good to go. Alright, so we fixed that. So if we scroll over here, we see we have the formatting done properly. We go to the single post, the single.php file, and that's fine. Alright, so now let's fix up some more stuff. Let's take care of some of the other pages, because if you go over here, this is using our archive.php file. We need to fix that as well. So we'll go over here, we'll close off that, close this off, go here. Let's fix the archive.php file. I'm just going to give these all the same values over here for now. And then later on, we'll update everything to make it more customized. But just want to have everything formatted properly for this video. And then we'll go into more advanced stuff later on. Let's see that now. That's properly done. Okay. So if we go to, what else we got to fix? Probably the search.php file. Yep. So we'll close this off. Go over here. We'll look for the search.php file. Go to the bottom. Paste that there. Go to the top. And paste it there. Make sure everything's saved. And you see how it's coming together. Alright, so I'm going to do this for all the pages that need to be updated. Let's go over here now. We took care of the single.php file. We took care of sidebar.php. We took care of search.php. Let's go over here to page.php now. Close that off, and let's go now to, we're done with index, we're done with header for now, functions is good, footer is good, comments, we don't need to do anything there, we took care of archive, let's take care of the 404.php file, okay. Put in that there. Matter of fact, for the 404 page, let's make it a little bit different. We'll make it we'll make this one full width because it doesn't have the sidebar on the bottom. So we'll leave it like that. So when a person goes and they try to go to a URL that doesn't exist, they'll get the page not found. That is still in the search. So let's go over here. Give it a different search parameter. Oops, that page can't be found. And if you want to put in some form of image over here to take up the full header, we can do that. And in another video, we'll go through the process of fully customizing the 404.php file to make it look more visually appealing. Because if anybody lands on this file or on this page, it's really a bad user experience. So you want to make it as visually appealing as you possibly can. So we'll take care of that in another video, and I'll show you different ways to customize that out. Now what I want to do is go back to the browser. We can get out of the inspect elements. Let's go to dashboard, appearance, and theme check. Alright, so it says so far it passes. Obviously we still have a ways to go, but there's some things we're going to take care of. Over here it says there's no reference to the post thumbnail function, so we have to implement that. And then we'll change this up as well. So let's go over here. We can close that one off. Let's open up content.php. and content-page.php. Those are two areas we're going to have to focus on. So in the content-page.php, let's go back to our browser and let's look at some pages that we have. Let's say we're going to look at this one right here. So we see it has no image, right? Let's edit the page. There's no featured image, so let's give it one. Let's say we're going to give it this one right here. We're going to update it. View page. You see it doesn't show up, right? So it's still calling page.php and then content-page.php. So that's the file we're going to work with. We'll go over here, content-page.php. Over here in the header section right here, you could choose to put the image on top of the title or below the title. It's completely up to you. I'm going to put it on top of the title. Open up some PHP tags, put in an if conditional, put in the has post thumbnail function, we save that. So what we're doing here, give ourselves some space. We have the if conditional, if it has a post thumbnail, and then the post thumbnail. All right, so now we go back to the browser, refresh, and now the thumbnail shows up. And if we go back to the dashboard, appearance and theme check, we check it again, and we see that it's good to go. But that's only within our page section, because if we go over here to the front of the site, go over here, and we edit this post, and we put in a featured image here. Let's say we're going to use, doesn't matter, we use this photo right there. We set it as the featured image, update, view post, still not there. It's in single, and then the single.php file is calling in the content.php file. So we go back over here, content.php file. We're going to grab this line of code that we just wrote out and go over here and put it right there. And let's see what happens. And now we have the thumbnail showing up there as well. All right, so we're good on that side. All right, so now let's take care of some more of the CSS, because we still have some work here to do. But actually, before we do that, let me create a couple of more template files, because we can create additional page templates and single post templates. So that way we can get some different layout options. So let's open this single.php file up again. Let's close that off, close that, and close that, and that. All right, so this is the default for the single post, but we can create a new file and call it single underscore full underscore width dot php. So now we have a single full width dot php empty file right here. But let's go back here first. Let's go to this file. Let's edit it. And you see you have no option to get other types of layout options. So we're going to make that happen now. So over here, we're going to pretty much just grab everything from here, paste it in there, but we're going to go to the top. We're going to make this 12, and we're going to take out the sidebar. That's if you don't want to have any sidebar in this location. And then over here, we're going to give it a template name. So we're going to say template name colon full width template, and then we're going to say template post type post. Now we're doing it this way because we're going to create different styles and different options for our page templates. So we're separating them. You can make it compatible with both, or you can use if-else conditions, but I'm going to do it this way for now. And now you save this. Now we go back over here. Let's reload this browser window. And now you see we have the template over here. We can use full width template. Select it, update, view post. And now we have a full width template of our content area. Okay, so let's do the same thing for our page template. Open up page.php. We're going to create a new file. Page underscore full underscore width.php. Go there. We'll just grab everything from the page.php file. Paste it in. We'll take out the sidebar code. Make this 12. And then we're going to fill out the proper header information over here. So we're going to say template name full width page. This is now creating our template for the full width page. What I'm going to do is select all this, copy it, delete it for now because I actually want to show you, save it, show you that on the pages, we don't have that option. So go to pages over here, go to view, edit. We don't have the template option there as well. So we'll go back here, we'll paste, save, go back, and refresh. And now we have the template option there. Update, view page, and now that's full width. So that's an easy way to get it done. We could also make it with multiple different grid styles. We can have it in a masonry style layout. We can have it with a left sidebar, right sidebar, two sidebars, different widget areas. We can create different templates for different styles. Let's say you want to have a landing page, or if you want to have a page that's really dedicated to one particular type of content and styled completely differently, we can create template files for different style formatting. Now that's the power here. So we have that covered. And now let's take care of some of the CSS like I mentioned before. So if we inspect this element over here, we're going to be able to see what we have to target. This is why your developer tools are very important. You click on the element you want to inspect, you right click and inspect element. You see all your HTML over here, and you see the corresponding CSS here. You might see it on your sidebar like this, and you can change where it displays by just toggling that right there. All right. You also see the styles, and you could also check out the computed styles. So now what we want to do is we want to fix the site title and make sure that it's equally formatted. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to close this out, close. Let's open up our CSS file. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove some stuff from here because we're not using normalize because we're using Bootstrap's solution for this. So we can take this information out and take all the normalized code. You see, we're going to have to go all the way down to typography. So we'll grab all this, because this is all redundant code. And we're going to delete all this. We're going to finish off right above where it says typography. We'll save that. Go back here, refresh. Not much is going to change, but you don't want to have too much redundant code. So we're going to want to target the site title class over here. So let's go to our code editor. We're going to put it into the element section. So let's find that. And we'll jump right there. All right, so let's see where we're going to put it here. Let's put it right here under the HR. So we're going to target the site title. Matter of fact, let's be very specific. We're going to target the H1 site title. Then the P, or for paragraph, site title. Our curly braces. We're going to give it a margin of 10 pixels. 0, 0, negative 2 pixels. We're going to give it a padding of 0. Line height 1em. Font size, let's say 30 pixels. Letter spacing 1 pixel. Let's save that for now. Go back to our browser and refresh. Alright, so now we see that it's formatted the same. What else can we do here? Let's go over here. Let's target the site title. Give it a margin of 0. And then we'll say site title. Text decoration, none. All right. So what we're doing here is we're giving it a margin of 0, and we're giving it no text decoration when you hover over it. Let's go back to the browser and see how that looks. Let's get out of this, refresh, and now there's no underline over here. Alright, so now let's take care of some of the other CSS styling over here. We're going to target our navigation bar. And what we could do over here is we're going to look for the nav section. So let's go back to the top, find, and let's take care of this section right here. So what we're going to do is go over here to the menus, and we're going to take all of this out because we don't need this since we are not using the styling that comes in with the underscores theme. So we can take this out all the way to right here. And I scroll down over here, we go to this section, and we're going to start targeting the nav bar. We're going to say padding, let's say padding left 0, padding right 0. Save that, and let's refresh. Now we see that's properly lining up. All right, let's go back over here. Now I'm going to give it some more styling in terms of the drop downs. So I'm going to say dot open. We're going to use a browser prefix. Okay, so we have the open, targeting the drop-down menu class, giving it the browser prefix right here. We're giving it the transform scale 1:1. Okay, now let's target drop-down dash menu, margin top 0. Opacity, let's say we're going to give it a 0.5. And now we're going to use a couple of more browser prefixes. This is to make sure that it looks the same or similar on different browsers. And I'll just copy this right here. WebKit animation, fill, mode, forwards. Then we're going to say transition, all, and now let's clean this up. Go to the next line, drop down, vertical, align, let's save this and check it out. That's how it looks now. Let's refresh. And now we have a nicer effect. Alright, it's just a little bit of a difference, but I think it looks nicer. Let's go back to our style sheet. And what I want to focus on now is the scroll to top functionality. So I'm going to go over here, make some space. Let me scroll up so you can see it better. I'm going to target the top class. I'm going to give it a color. You can give it whatever color you want, but I'm going to go with this dark grayish color. Position, fixed, z-index, give it a high value. We're going to position it, we're going to put it towards the bottom at about 20 pixels. In the right hand corner at about 20 pixels. We're just messing with the placement of it right now. I'm going to say width 40 pixels, and then height 40 pixels. Make sure you put in your semicolons. We're going to say the font size 24 pixels. Font weight, it's going to be 700. Line height, 40 pixels. Text align, center. Text transform, uppercase, opacity 9, border none. Okay, so then we'll come down here and we'll say on hover now we don't need to put that. And just say opacity 1, text decoration none. Alright, so now let's save it. Let's jump back to the browser. See, right now we don't have it. Let's refresh. And now you see it showed up towards the bottom right there. If we want to give it a background color, let's say we'll make this white. And then on hover, we can say, give it that charcoal color, save it, refresh. This will actually be like that. And then over here we'll say color. We can actually take this right here. Let's cut that out. Let's just play around with this until we get it the way we want. Okay. Now you can play around with the values here to make it look the way you want. I'm just going to take that background out for now. And I'm going to put this back to a very simple charcoal color. Like that. Okay, so now we have the scroll to top. We have that done. Let's take a look at what else we have to do. Alright, so looking at the page, what I want to do is I want to focus on the select element right here. And then scrolling down, I think there was another area I wanted to target. Yeah, the tag cloud. Let's format this a little bit different. And then if we scroll all the way down, let's align this towards the center. Alright, so let's inspect this element. So we're targeting the site info. We can test out our styles over here. Let's say text align center. Alright, so that's what we want to do. Alright, so we'll go back to our style sheet. And from here, let's go back up. We're going to put that into our element section. Let's put it right over here. Dot site info text align center. Save that and we're good to go. Let's refresh this. Alright, let's see what else we want to target. We said we wanted to target the tag cloud, so we can inspect this over here, see what we're going to be targeting. Let's target the tag cloud right there. Let's go back to our style sheet. Let's put in our widgets section. So I'm going to look for widgets. So we'll put it right here. We'll give ourselves a comment, just so we know what that is. Come down. We're going to target the tag cloud. We're going to give it a border, let's say 1 pixel, solid, border radius to give it a nice curvature, 2 pixels. We're going to display inline block. Give it a line height of 1. Let me scroll up a little bit. And then we're going to say margin 0. Let's say 2 pixels for the right, 5 pixels for the bottom, and then 0 for the left hand side. So this one works on the top part. 0 for the margin top, 2 pixels for the margin right, 5 pixels for the margin bottom, and then 0 pixels for the margin left. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now we got to give it some more styling over here. Let's say padding. Let's see how it looks with 5 pixels padding. This will be for 5 pixels all around. Alright, looks a little bit better. Now let's go to the hover effect. Let's go down here. We'll say tag cloud a hover. We'll say text decoration none. We will say, we'll give it a color of, let's go with this color right here, 21759B. And then outline 0. Let's also make it for the visited or focus state. Let's take a look now. Refresh. We don't want that hover effect right there. So we'll go back here. We'll actually put this over here. See how that looks? And good. Now we don't have that. Alright, so we have our tag cloud done. Let's now take a look at, let's see. We're going to want to have some good margin over here. So let's inspect that element. So we're going to target the entry title in the H1. But we also know that we have, if we go to the regular blog roll page and inspect it here, we know it's the entry title H2. So we're going to target both the H1 and H2 entry titles. Let's go back to our code editor. And over here, we'll go back to our, let's look for the elements. We'll put it over here. We'll scroll to the bottom of this section. Put it under the table over here. We'll say h1.entry title, comma, h2 entry title, margin top, let's say 1.5 em. Alright, so we're giving the H1 and the H2 entry titles margin top of 1.5 em. Refresh. Alright, so now we got some better spacing there. Alright, so let's fix up our site description section right here. We're going to work on this. Alright, so we'll go back to our code editor. We're going to scroll up a little bit. We'll put it right over here underneath the site title. We'll keep everything grouped together. Site description. We're going to say font size 16 pixels. I'm going to give it a margin 10 pixels and 0, 0. Let's give it a letter spacing of 1 pixel. Let's go back here, refresh. Alright, so now we see that changed a little bit. Alright, I think I want to give ourselves some more padding or some more space on the bottom over here of the masthead. Alright, so I'm going to target this right here. Let's say I'm going to give it a margin bottom of 30 pixels. Alright, that gives us some more space. That's good. Alright, so I'll go back over here. I'll target the masthead. And what do we say? 30 pixels, right? Okay, let's see what's going on here. Maybe that margin top is a little bit too much. We'll take a look at it. We'll inspect. We see we have 48 pixels being called in right here. If we undo that, yeah, I think we're going to undo that part right there. But let's see how that affects if we go to another page. Or that's really for the sticky element right there, because if we don't have it, then it impacts that. See, that loses its formatting. So we're going to change this up. Maybe that's too much. It's 48 pixels for the top. So let's change that up. We'll do a search for 1.5 em because we know that's what it was. But now we want to target specifically this sticky item right here. So if we look at it, we see in the article, we have the sticky class right there. We're looking in the class right here. So we're going to target that. Let's see right here in the content area. Maybe we could just target it there instead. This is part of the thought process in getting things done. But as a matter of fact, let's see if we go over here to the actual article. Edit the post. See what happens if we give it a featured image. Let's give it that one. Update. Let's view the post. Alright, so it actually aligns fine. So we're not going to change this too much. We'll leave that at 1. That was because of the way the alignment is happening over here, but the image is fine. Inspect that. And now let's target our category links over here. Inspect that. We're going to be looking for the ability to change this up. All right, so we're going to target our category links and our tag links and our edit link over here. Let's go back to our code editor. We can put it over here. We'll put it under the figure. We'll say .cat links and the tag links. And what was the other one? The edit link. All right, so this is plural and this is singular. Okay. We're going to give it a margin right. Let's say 5 pixels. And so now we got some spacing over there. Still got to get that one right there. Matter of fact, we'll put this on its own line over here. We're going to say margin left 5 pixels. Okay. Then we're going to say cat links A, and then tag links A, and then edit link A. Go over here. We say text decoration none. We're going to make it uppercase, so text transform uppercase. We have an error over here. Okay, that's good. And let's give it a color. Like that. Okay, so not everything took place. What happened here? Okay, so that's plural right there. So we got to put an S here. If we do that, then do we still need the edit link like that? See what happens. No, we don't. All right, so we can go over here and take that out. Okay, now if you want to have an underline there, this is a user experience decision, so you can play around with it as you wish, but let's say we're going to put a border on the bottom. Let me show you how to do that. We're going to say cat links A. We're going to cover the focus state. Cat links cover the hover state. We'll do the same thing for the tags. Let's remember that's plural. And we'll do the edit link focus we'll give it a border bottom. We'll say solid 1 pixel. And we'll give it the same color. We'll just grab this right here. Let's see. Let's refresh. And now we get the border bottom. Let's go over here because we have a double border here, but I think that's the text decoration right there. Oh, because we didn't put the period there, so it wasn't recognizing it. Alright, refresh, and now you see we have that done nicely. Alright, so that's for that section. Let's go to the bottom. I think I want to give us some more space over here. So we'll inspect over here. We're going to jump to the footer. And say we're going to give the footer element itself. Actually, no, it's a margin top. Let's say 20 pixels. Alright, yeah, we'll give ourselves some space. So we'll go back to our code editor. And let's just go over here. Footer. Margin top. 20 pixels. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so now I want to focus on the select elements. So if I inspect that element, come over here, we see this is what we got to work with. And we're going to want to target all of the selects. So we're going to go to line 304 within our style sheet. Let's go over here. Let's navigate down to line 304. Okay, right here. Let's give it some padding. And let's say the width will be 100%. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's refresh. Alright, so now that's looking a little bit better. Alright, so let me bring this down a little bit. And start looking around our website. See if there's anything else we got to work with. You want to check out the formatting. Let's go over here to our dashboard. I want to check something out here in the settings. Reading. Okay. Alright, I'm looking at this now. And what I see that I don't like is the fact that on the blog row page, all the content is being displayed. So that's making this page very large. Now maybe that's okay for you, but for me I'd rather have an excerpt of the actual blog post versus the entire content for all the blog posts here on this main page. Alright, so in order to fix that, what can we do? So if we see here, this one is very long. All the content is there, and it's also on a single page. So this is single full width, and this is index.php. Alright, so we can go back to our text editor, and go into the index.php file, and we're going to go over here. We're going to be working with the content itself, so we have to go to content.php. And this is the area that we have to work on because we're calling in the image, we have the zip conditional, and then we have the entry content. So this is the entire content right here. So what we can do here is we can use a conditional tag. We can say if is single, take that one out, go down here, close off that right there, that if one, and then else, the excerpt. Let me just look over this real quick. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're saying if is single, then we're pulling in all the content. Otherwise, if it's like the index.php file or the archive.php file, then it'll pull in the excerpt itself. So let's save that. Let's see what it does. Alright, so this is what it looks like now. You see it's pulling in all that content. Let's refresh, make sure it still works. And it does. Now we're just getting the image, the title, the posted on or posted in section, and the excerpt right there. And then we move on to the next one. We see where it's posted in, and we have that there also. Alright, so if we want to have some more type of separation, something to signify that we're separating that area, we can do that as well. We can go over here, and let's say we're just going to put in a horizontal line. Refresh, and now we have some more separation right there, or something to signify that there's a separation between this content and this content right there. Alright, that looks a little bit better. Just going through the actual page, making sure everything looks good. We have our navigation over here, so we go to the second page. We haven't put an image over here, so that's the way that's looking. Alright, so let's go through some of our other sections here. Make sure everything looks fine. Everything seems to be working. See how responsive it is. It's doing good. And looking around, I think we're good for now. We have this as the full width single template. The pages also have the full width potential as well. So we have two layout options for the single blog post, meaning we have the content sidebar and then the full width, and the same thing for the pages. We have our scroll to top. We have a hover drop down effect. Obviously, if we place more links there, let's see how that will look. Let's say we're going to grab these over here, add to menu, put it right there, right there. Let's say we're going to put that there, just to give us some more things to test out. Let's save that. Go back to the front page. Alright. You see the page in the markup formatting. Looks fine, nothing looks out of order. Now this is just a lot of information just to make sure that your content is being displayed properly and seeing if there's anything that you gotta fix. Let's see the image alignment, make sure our images are being properly aligned. Okay, that looks fine. Alright, so it looks fine, everything looks good. But there's so much more that we could do, right? I mean, we could style this even further. So much more we can add to this in terms of functionality, but I figured let me start ending this video, because if not, we'll be here all day and all night. So I'll leave some more stuff for the upcoming videos. But we took care of a lot of stuff that we needed to, and we fixed that issue where all the content was being displayed on the front page. Obviously, that's not what we wanted. On the index.php page, or in the archives page, we want to make sure that it's the image, title, and an excerpt, and then going on to the next one. Alright, so what else can we add to this in the upcoming videos? Well, if we go over here to getbootstrap.com, we can look at the examples. We can add a carousel, which if we open this up in a new tab, is like a slider. So I'll do that also. We'll do this in another video. And if we go down further, over here to the album one, we can do this as well. Get this type of gallery format going. So this could be cool if we're going to be doing a masonry styled grid layout for the blog roll page. So for example, if we go over here, instead of it being the content and a sidebar, maybe we'll have it set up like this, where we'll have the featured image or the thumbnails and the excerpt and the link going back to the article. So that way you have a lot more content for people to view at the top of the viewport. So that's pretty cool. So we'll do that in an upcoming video. What else? We'll play around with some of this off-canvas stuff, and then we'll work with the navigation as well. We can do the fixed nav bar on top or things of that nature. Alright, so hopefully you found this video helpful. Just to recap, I know we covered a lot, but let me walk you through all this. We have our distribution folder. In there we have our bootstrap.min.css file and the editors-style.css file. And we have the customizer.js in there. The reason why I do it this way is because I do use Gulp as a task runner. So you see we have the Sass file. We didn't touch anything here. because we just work with the main style sheet over here. But when using Gulp, you don't work with the main style sheet, you work over here in the style.css file. So I'll probably do another video where I just show how to convert the style.css file into the Sass file, so all those styling over into the proper folders over here. And we did the proper formatting for all of our other pages over here as well. Taking a look over here, or we could actually fix this over here as well. I'm going to put this to my website, and I'll put that to be about. Technically this should be bumped up because we have other videos for devwp, so I'll put that to 1.0.1. And this is the style sheet. I'm going to scroll down very slowly over here so you can take a look at some of the code in case you need a recap for it. In the upcoming videos, we'll do a full refactoring of all the CSS because there's a significant amount of enhancements and improvements that we could do. But this is the starting point. As you can see, we made a lot of changes over here. We added some custom CSS to the default CSS that comes with the underscore starter theme. And we made it compatible with Bootstrap. If you need to pause the video just to grab some of this code, if you see something that maybe you missed, take the time and do that. You want to make sure all your code is properly functioning, especially with the JavaScript code. Don't forget, I'm going to timestamp this whole entire video so that way you can jump to and from different sections. Alright, so that's all the code for the style.css file. And what we did was we got underscores from underscores.me. We downloaded Bootstrap. We got Font Awesome, and we're going to implement the Font Awesome later on because we're going to create a social media menu and we're going to use some of these icons. We got Tether because it's needed by Bootstrap. We use the theme unit test data. This is the information that we downloaded. And again, if you want to get all the files already pre-coded so you can follow along a lot easier, then just go to pixelweb.com/devwp/get-devwp. And for just $10, you'll get all the code, the files, and the folders. And whenever I make an update to it, you'll get that as well. And I'm also working on that WordPress theme development guide. So once that's done, I'll send that off to you also. So just go here. For just $10, it's a great deal. It's a way to support the channel. And it's also a way for you to have all the code right there in front of you. But it's not required since I show you all the code in the video itself. This was for the popper.min.js. And this was for the nav walker. On my website, Pixelweb, and over here on devwp, I'll leave a link to all the different assets that we're using for this video demonstration. So that way you can take a look at that and grab them up if you need. We customized the function.php file. We went over the enqueuing our style sheets and the scripts itself. Now, when you're developing a theme, it typically takes a significant amount of time. But the benefit of using a starter theme like underscores and a front-end framework like Bootstrap gives you the ability to create websites a lot faster, or to create WordPress themes a lot faster. Now, there's so much that we could do, like I said. There's so many features that Bootstrap comes with, and that's what this playlist is going to be dedicated to. Slowly but surely implementing a lot of these different features. Can't do it all in one video. You see, it took a pretty long time over here. But the next video should be shorter and more focused on the different types of functionality. Also, I'm going to be mixing in some videos that'll be very targeted to talk about the WordPress loop and everything you could do with it, because you can customize the WordPress loop to do virtually anything you want. And I'll do some videos on template tags. I'll do some videos on filter and action hooks and the different ways you can bend WordPress to your will. Alright, hopefully you found this video helpful. It was a very long one. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. That shows that you might have found the video helpful and that you're committed to learning how to code a WordPress theme. It is a lot, so I definitely commend you for that. Now make sure you go over to the home page of my YouTube channel take a look at some of the videos that I have, you're going to see I have a bunch of videos dedicated to different aspects of WordPress, social media, search engine optimization, blogging, and other topics as well. And you can take a look at the playlist over here. There's definitely going to be something here for you, whether you're a beginner or a more advanced WordPress user. Just make sure you subscribe and hit that notification icon. That way, whenever I release a new video, you'll be notified. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this video helpful. Give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and if you need me to help you with the website, contact me on pixandweb.com. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.